Deep in the endless dark of space, a faint voice cried for help. It was weak, broken, and full of fear. Across dying stars and silent worlds, a desperate SOS signal drifted, the final hope of a race called the Tharkin. For weeks, the message echoed through the galaxy. No one answered. The stronger empires ignored it. The traitors didn't care. The warlords laughed, and then the signal reached Earth. Inside a quiet control room at the Global Space Command, rows of computers blinked. Dr. Lena Ross, a communications expert, leaned closer to her console. This isn't human," she whispered. The sound was strange. Layers of clicks, static, and deep vibrating tones. It repeated every 30 seconds. The signal was weak, like a heartbeat fading away. Scientists gathered. Military officers entered. Within hours, the room was filled with tension. For the first time in history, humanity had received an alien message. General Thomas Ward stood at the center of the room. His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "Are we sure this is not a trick?" he asked. Lena shook her head. "It's not. The language structure is unknown. But there's one clear word that keeps repeating." "What word?" the general asked. She took a deep breath. "Help." Silence filled the command room. For a moment, even the machine seemed to pause. The message was replayed 100 times. Experts worked day and night to decode it. Slowly, the picture became clear. The Tharkin were an ancient alien race, and peaceful, wise, and once powerful. But now their worlds were burning. A mysterious enemy called the Swarm had invaded their systems. Every planet, every city, every ship, all were being destroyed. The message described nothing else. No demand, no trade, no warning. Just a voice crying out across the stars. "Please, help us." The message ended in static. Across Earth, the news spread fast. Some were thrilled, proof of alien life. Others were afraid. If a powerful species could fall, what hope did humans have? The United Earth Council met in emergency session. Some leaders argued, "We can't get involved. It's not our war." Others shouted, "If we ignore this, the same enemy might come for us next." For hours they argued, but no one could agree. Meanwhile, in a hidden section of the military base, a man named Commander Elias Ward, son of General Thomas Ward, watched the decoded data quietly. He studied the images from the message. Shattered cities, burning skies, alien children running through ruins. His jaw tightened. He had seen war before, but this was different. "These people didn't start it," he said softly. "They're just trying to survive." A technician turned toward him. "But Commander, the council said we're not to act." Elias looked out the window at the dark sky. "Sometimes, waiting is worse than fighting." Days passed. The signal grew weaker. Then suddenly it stopped. All around the world, the last transmission ended in static, as if someone had ripped the connection apart. Dr. Lena Ross stared at her monitor in horror. "It's gone. They're gone." The general closed his eyes. "We were too late." But Elias didn't believe it. "No," he whispered. "Something cut them off. They're still out there." That night, while most of the base slept, an alert went off deep inside Jupiter's orbit. A small station called Outpost 9, built to monitor deep space activity, detected something unusual. At first, the crew thought it was a comet. Then they realized it was slowing down. Lieutenant Harris zoomed in on the reading. "Sir, this object is massive, hundreds of kilometers wide. Is it transmitting?" "No, sir. It's silent." The officer frowned. "Then why is it heading straight toward us?" On Earth, alarms blared. The Global Space Command woke the general in the middle of the night. "Sir, unidentified object approaching solar space. Velocity decreasing. What's its origin?" "Unknown. But trajectory matches the same region as the Tharkin distress call." The general's face turned pale. "Are you saying it followed the signal here?" The officer nodded slowly. "Yes, sir. Whatever destroyed them might now be coming for us." In space, the object moved quietly like a shadow gliding between the planets. Cameras caught glimpses of its surface, smooth, black, alive. It didn't reflect light. It absorbed it. Scientists tried to make contact. No response. Military satellites powered up defense grids. Missiles were armed. For the first time in human history, Earth stood ready for a war it didn't start. Dr. Lena watched from the observation deck, fear and wonder in her eyes. "Maybe they asked for help," she whispered, "and we didn't answer in time." Commander Elias Ward, standing beside her, Watch the object grow larger on the screen. Maybe, he said, his voice low, but now something else is answering. Ending suspense. The dark object stopped near Jupiter, completely still. Then from its surface, hundreds of smaller shapes began to detach, moving toward Earth in perfect silence. The sensors started to scream. "Sir," shouted the operator, "they're not ships. They're alive." General Ward froze. "Prepare the fleet," he said grimly. The unexpected war has begun. The world was silent that night. Every news channel spoke of one thing: the dark object near Jupiter. People called it many names: the shadow ship, the doom star, the harbinger. But in every home, in every heart, there was the same feeling: fear. No one knew what it was or what it wanted. It just stayed there, unmoving, watching. At the Global Space Command, the lights never turned off. Scientists worked without rest, scanning, decoding, hoping to understand the thing that now watched Earth. Commander Elias Ward stood by the main window, staring at the live feed from Outpost 9. The huge object floated above Jupiter, surrounded by storms of red gas. "How big is it?" he asked quietly. Dr. Lena Ross looked at her screen. "Bigger than any ship we've ever built. Maybe bigger than any city on Earth. It's unnatural." Elias nodded. "No signs of communication?" "None. It's silent. But it's moving slightly, like it's breathing." That word made everyone freeze. "Breathing?" Lena looked around. "It's alive, Commander. I think the ship itself is some kind of organism." Across the command center, tension grew. The United Earth Council sent new orders. Do not engage. Do not provoke. Maintain silence, but Elias couldn't accept that. He remembered the SOS and the broken voice calling for help, then ending in screams. "What if this is what killed them?" he said. "What if it's hunting the signal?" General Thomas Ward, his father, entered the room. His uniform looked heavy with worry. "Elias, this is not your call. We are observing only. No contact." Elias faced him. "Sir, with respect, if we just watch, we'll end up like them." The general's face hardened. "Our orders are clear. We don't start a war we don't understand." "But what if the war has already started?" Elias whispered. Hours passed. The world waited. Then at dawn, something happened. The object near Jupiter opened. Huge panels unfolded like the petals of a dark flower. From its center, a glowing red pulse spread across the system. The signal was so strong that every radio, satellite, and communication network on Earth went silent for 10 seconds. Then the sound came, a deep, low tone that shook the air itself. Dr. Lena's hands trembled. "That's not random. It's a signal." The general turned to her. "Can you decode it?" She nodded slowly, her eyes wide. "It's saying one word again and again." Everyone leaned in. "What word?" Elias asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Found you." Panic spread through every control center. The dark object had found Earth, and it was calling to something else. In the outer solar system, small dots appeared on long-range sensors, hundreds of them, moving fast. "They're coming," said an operator. "Multiple contacts. Thousands of ships entering from the edge of the system." Elias stepped closer to the screen. His heart pounded. "That's the swarm." The general shouted orders. "Activate planetary defense grid. Scramble fleets to Mars orbit. Get me all commanders online." Sirens echoed across bases. Fighters launched. Missile silos opened. For the first time, Earth was preparing for a battle beyond imagination. But the Council sent another command from their underground bunker. "Do not attack unless fired upon." The general slammed his fist on the table. "They'll wait until we're ashes." Elias looked at his father. "Then we can't wait for permission." Later that night, Elias met secretly with Dr. Lena in the research bay. She showed him a hologram, the alien SOS from the Tharkeen. It was clearer now after more decoding. "There's more to the message," she said. "It wasn't just asking for help. It warned about this thing." The hologram flickered, showing alien text and symbols. Lena read the translation slowly. "The swarm follows the signal. They hear cries for help. They eat the desperate." Elias's eyes widened. "They use distress signals as bait. The moment we answered, they found us." He turned away, his jaw tight. "So we're next." Lena looked afraid. "Elias, what are you going to do?" He didn't answer right away. He looked at the stars on the screen, each one a possible enemy or ally. Finally, he said, "If no one else will protect Earth, then I will." In the dark hangar below, his flagship Erebus was waiting. Sleek, black and powerful, it was one of Earth's newest deep space warships, but it had never seen real combat. Elias stood on the bridge, staring at the holographic projection of the solar system. Red dots, enemy signals, were getting closer. He opened a secure channel to his crew. Listen carefully. This mission is not approved. If you stay, you risk everything, your career, your life, maybe the planet's future. But if we don't act, we'll lose everything anyway. For a moment, silence. Then one voice said, "We're with you, Commander." Another followed. Then the whole crew echoed together. The Erebus cut through the dark like a silent blade. Behind it, Earth grew smaller, fading into a pale blue dot among billions of stars. Ahead, only darkness, danger, and the unknown. Commander Elias Ward stood on the bridge, his eyes locked on the glowing map before him. The holographic stars drifted slowly in front of him. At the center blinked a red dot, the last known coordinates of the alien distress call. Dr. Lena Ross joined him, her face pale under the blue lights. "If the readings are correct, we'll reach the Tharkin system in 6 hours." Elias nodded slowly. "Then let's find out what's left of them." No one on the ship spoke after that. The crew moved in silence, feeling the weight of what lay ahead. They had all heard the alien SOS, the last words of a dying civilization. Now they were flying straight into its grave. As the Erebus neared the edge of the Tharkin system, the view screens filled with wreckage. Dead ships floated everywhere, twisted metal, burned engines, shattered hulls. The remains of a once great fleet, Lieutenant Harris whispered. "There are thousands of them. Maybe millions." Dr. Lena adjusted her scanners. "Radiation levels are high. Energy traces are unstable, but..." She paused. "I'm detecting faint power from one of the planets." Elias turned sharply. "Alive?" "Maybe. It's weak, but something's still running down there." Elias didn't hesitate. "Plot a course. Let's go." As the ship descended toward the planet, they saw the world of the Tharkin, or what was left of it. The surface was black and broken. Massive scars cut across continents. Whole oceans had boiled away. Cities stood in ruins, glowing faintly from underground fires. No signs of life. No movement. Only silence. The Erebus entered low orbit, scanning the planet below. "Sir," said Harris, "I've found the source of the signal. It's inside that mountain range, an old bunker complex." Elias gave a quick nod. "Prepare a landing team." The shuttle dropped through the ash-filled sky, landing near the ruined mountain base. The air outside was thick and heavy. Every step echoed on the dead ground. Lena and 2 soldiers followed Elias into the dark entrance. The bunker doors were half melted, as if something had clawed through them. Inside, the walls were covered in strange alien writing, warnings, perhaps prayers. They moved deeper, guided by dim, flickering light still struggling to stay alive after all this time. Then they heard it, a weak mechanical hum. "Power cell still running," Lena said softly. "After all this destruction, it's still alive." At the end of the corridor, they found a chamber filled with pods, glass containers covered in frost. Inside them floated tall, gray-skinned beings with long arms and glowing blue veins. "The Tharkin," whispered Elias. Lena checked her scanner. "Most are dead. But this one," she pointed to a pod, "has a heartbeat." They began the revival process carefully. The chamber lights flickered and the frozen air hissed as the pod opened. The alien inside gasped, coughing weakly. Its eyes opened, glowing faintly like starlight. Elias stepped forward slowly. "It's okay. You're safe." The alien looked around, confused and afraid. It spoke in broken words, its voice rough and trembling. "Who? Are you?" Lena smiled gently. "We're from Earth. We received your signal." For a moment, the Tharkin stared in silence. Then it began to cry, not with tears, but with soft, glowing light running down its face. "You came," it whispered. "No one ever comes." Back aboard the Erebus, the alien survivor sat weakly in the medbay. Through translation devices, they learned its name. Varen. It was one of the last leaders of the Tharkin people. Varen told them everything. The swarm had arrived without warning. Creatures born from machines, spreading like a virus. They consumed matter, converted it into more of themselves, and moved on. "They came from the void," Varen said. No home, no mercy. We fought, we fled, we begged. No one answered. We sent our last cry to the stars, and then they found us again, Lena frowned. You mean, the swarm followed your distress signal? Varin nodded slowly. Yes, they always follow the cry for help. That's how they hunt. Elias's heart sank. The swarm didn't just find the Tharkin. They were now following Earth's signal, too. Before he could speak, the ship's alarms blared. Commander, shouted Harris from the bridge. Multiple contacts inbound, fast movers. They came out of warp just above the planet. Elias ran to the main display. Hundreds of small red dots filled the screen. Lena whispered, The swarm. Varin stood weakly, fear in his eyes. They have found you too. The first attack hit like thunder. Explosions flashed across the sky as the swarm descended. Black ships shaped like blades, moving like insects. Elias barked orders. Get the landing team back aboard. Raise shields. Arm weapons. The Erebus rose through the smoky atmosphere, firing bursts of plasma at the incoming attackers. Each hit tore apart a swarm drone, but for every one destroyed, 10 more appeared. On the bridge, the crew worked furiously. Shields at 60%. We're surrounded. Lena shouted, We can't win here. We need to jump. Elias clenched his fists. He looked out the window. The ruins of a world, a survivor trembling behind him, and the sky burning with alien fire. He whispered, Not yet. The ship's guns roared again. Missiles streaked through the sky. Swarm drones exploded in flashes of blue light, but they kept coming. Thousands, tens of thousands. Elias turned to Lena. Prepare jump coordinates, anywhere away from here. But the swarm might follow. They already have, he said grimly. We just have to stay ahead of them. As the Erebus charged its engines, the Tharkin survivor looked at Elias. You fought them, and you survived. Varin said softly. No one has ever done that. Elias gave a faint, tired smile. Then maybe it's time someone did. The stars bent around the ship as the Erebus jumped into hyperspace, vanishing just as the burning world below finally collapsed into silence. Ending suspense. In the void they left behind, the swarm ship stopped their pursuit. Their leader, a massive shadow with glowing red eyes, spoke through the static. Humans, it said in a voice like thunder, we see you now. The tension across Earth was unlike anything before. News channels spoke in whispers. The world seemed to hold its breath. The alien fleet, the swarm, had crossed into the solar system. Yet no one knew what it truly was. In the dark orbit around Jupiter, Station Helios 9 floated like a small dot against the massive storming planet. Inside, Captain Mira Vance stood by the main window, watching the data feeds flicker red. They've entered the Kuiper Belt, her officer said, voice shaking. How many? Mira asked quietly. The officer swallowed. Thousands of ships, Captain. Maybe more. Mira didn't move. The screen showed blurs of black metal moving fast through the darkness. The swarm didn't communicate. It didn't send warnings. It just consumed everything it touched. Back on Earth, world leaders argued in the global command chamber. Nations that once distrusted each other now stood shoulder to shoulder, fear uniting them. We can't fight this, one general said. We don't even know what it is. But Dr. Alan Reyes, the lead astrophysicist who first decoded the Tharkin message, slammed his hand on the table. We can't hide, he said. They called for help. And now whatever destroyed them is coming for us. The room fell silent. Suddenly an alert echoed through the chamber. A message from Jupiter Command. It was Mira. Her voice was urgent and uneven. They're changing course. Multiple ships. Moving toward our orbit. They're scanning the system. We have minutes, maybe hours. Her voice cut off. Static filled the speakers. Everyone froze. Then a faint sound, a deep rhythmic pulse, came through the radio. It wasn't a human signal. It wasn't random either. Alan looked at the frequency pattern and whispered, That's language. They're talking to something. But who? Deep in the dark between Jupiter and Saturn, hidden sensors detected another signature. A small fleet rising from Jupiter's shadow. Earth Command was stunned. They hadn't launched anything. The ships were unknown. But they carried human energy patterns. How is that possible? One scientist gasped. We don't have vessels out there. The radar image grew clearer. The ships were sleek, black, and silent. each one massive yet invisible to the standard spectrum. They had no insignia, no nation markings. Only one name appeared in the encrypted data feed, Project Black Horizon. Activated. General Rhodes's eyes widened. That project was shut down decades ago. Alan turned toward him. What was it? Rhodes hesitated. A defense program, built in secret after the first alien probe was detected. We never had the technology to power it. Until now. The room's lights dimmed as Jupiter's signal feed displayed a haunting image, the swarm ships approaching, their glowing blue cores pulsing like hearts. Then from the shadows, the Black Horizon fleet moved silently forward. Without warning, the lead human ship fired a pulse. It wasn't a missile. It was a wave of light that cut through the void like lightning. One of the swarm's ships broke apart instantly, shattering into burning fragments. Earth Command erupted in gasps and confusion. Whose command are they under? Mira's signal suddenly returned, filled with static. That fleet, those are human ships. But they're not answering our calls. The image flickered again. The Black Horizon fleet moved with precision, coordinated, deadly, and silent. It didn't look like defense. It looked like a hunt. They're not trying to protect us, Alan whispered. They're trying to reach something. Mira looked at her screen. A faint signature appeared far beyond the swarm. A Tharkin distress beacon still faintly alive somewhere near the edge of the way. The room was silent. Every leader, scientist, and soldier in Global Command stared at the same message glowing across the main screen. Do not interfere. Earth must prepare. 6 words that froze the planet. Dr. Alan Reyes could feel his pulse racing. That code, he said softly. It's from the old Apollo Black archives. Something from over 60 years ago. How can that be possible? General Rhodes's jaw tightened. He knew. Everyone in the room could see it in his eyes. General, the president said firmly, you're going to tell us everything about Project Black Horizon. Now. Rhodes nodded slowly, his voice low. Black Horizon was built during the last Cold War era. Not as a weapon, but as a contingency. We found something in deep space decades ago. A derelict ship. Not alien, not human. Something else. It had technology we couldn't understand. He paused, letting the silence weigh heavy. We reverse-engineered what we could, created prototype ships powered by zero-point drives. But the energy source, it wasn't stable. The project was buried. Everyone involved was sworn to secrecy. Alan stared at him. Then how are those ships out there now? Who brought them back? Rhodes shook his head. No one should have been able to. Meanwhile, out near Jupiter, Captain Mira Vance's station drifted among the debris of burning alien wreckage. The battle between the mysterious human fleet and the swarm was terrifying, yet beautiful. The Black Horizon ships moved like ghosts, silent and precise, firing energy pulses that tore through enemy lines. Are they even human-controlled? One of her officers whispered. Or are we watching machines fight for us? Mira didn't answer. The radar showed something strange. The human fleet wasn't pursuing the swarm anymore. They were forming a defensive ring around one of Jupiter's outer moons. What are they protecting? She muttered. Her systems flickered and a faint encrypted channel opened on her screen. Static buzzed, then a calm voice, deep, human, and familiar. This is Commander Hale of the Black Horizon Initiative. Station Helios 9, do not interfere with orbital activity. Maintain distance. Earth will understand soon. Mira froze. Commander Hale had been declared dead 25 years ago, lost in a test mission near Neptune. Sir, how are you alive? She demanded. The voice was quiet. Alive isn't the right word, Captain. Let's just say, we became something else. Before she could reply, the signal ended. The Black Horizon fleet fired a synchronized burst toward the surface of Jupiter's moon Caliro. For a moment, it looked like an attack. But then sensors detected a massive structure beneath the moon's crust. Awakening. A pulse of white light spread across the system. On Earth, monitors went haywire. Communications broke. Satellites flickered out one by one. The president stood from his chair as the lights in the chamber dimmed. What's happening? Alan shouted. One of the technicians pointed to the global radar feed. It's not just Jupiter. Every major power station, every defense satellite. They're syncing to something. It's overriding our systems. General Rhodes clenched his fists. They're connecting to the Black Horizon network. The ships aren't fighting for us. They're reactivating the old defense grid. Alan looked horrified. But that system wasn't built for human control. It was built to protect against non-human logic. It will target anything it doesn't recognize. Rhodes turned pale. That means it could see us as a threat. At the same moment, Mira's crew aboard Helios 9 screamed as the radar blipped red. One of the Black Horizon ships turned its cannons and toward her station. "They're locking on us," her officer shouted. A beam of blue light shot past the station, missing by meters but melting a passing satellite into vapor. Mira gritted her teeth. "They're warning us. They don't want witnesses." She ordered her crew to back away, engines burning hard, but she couldn't take her eyes off the scene. The swarm ships that survived the battle were retreating. Not in defeat, but as if they understood something. They moved toward the far edge of the system, leaving a single massive vessel behind. It was not damaged. It was watching. Alan received a transmission through the emergency channel. The message had no voice, only symbols, the same pattern from the Tharkin distress call. He translated it quickly. "The swarm is not your enemy. The one beneath Jupiter is." He looked up, eyes wide. "Oh my God, we've been fighting the wrong side." General Rhodes turned toward him. "Then who are they?" Alan pointed at the data feed, his voice trembling. "The Tharkin weren't asking for rescue. They were warning us about Project Black Horizon, ending suspense." As Mira's station drifted further from Jupiter, she saw it, the moon's surface cracking open like an egg. Something enormous was buried inside, metallic and ancient, rising slowly into the void. Earth sensors lit up again, reading a massive signal unlike anything ever recorded. Alan whispered in horror, "It's not a ship. It's a gate." And from deep within the gate, a new signal began to pulse. Not human, not alien, but something older, something that had just woken up. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Around Jupiter, the shattered remains of ships drifted in silence, both alien and human. In the middle of that darkness, Calaro's cracked surface began to glow. Captain Mira Vance stood at the viewing window of Station Helios 9, her heart pounding as molten light poured from the moon's surface like veins of fire. "Captain," her officer whispered, voice trembling. "The readings are impossible. That thing isn't just a structure. It's alive." Mira stared as enormous rings unfolded from beneath the moon's crust, spinning in perfect synchronization. They pulsed with white and blue light, bending space itself. The air inside the station vibrated with deep, thunder-like sound, even though there was no sound in space. It wasn't a machine. It was a gate, and it was opening. On Earth, panic spread through every government hall. Communication with Jupiter was unstable. Every few minutes, Helios 9's signal broke under magnetic interference. Dr. Alan Reyes sat surrounded by screens of unreadable data, trying to decode the energy patterns. "This isn't random," he said quickly. "The energy wave from the gate, it's structured, rhythmic. Someone, or something, is trying to send a message." General Rhodes leaned over him. "Can we respond?" Alan shook his head. "If we transmit the wrong signal, it could see us as a threat. The Black Horizon fleet is already synced to it. They might be the only ones it recognizes." Rhodes's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then they're not defending Earth, they're defending that thing." Suddenly, the main screen lit up with a visual feed from Helios 9. Static, shaky, but clear enough to see the impossible sight. A massive structure floated above the moon, a dark sphere surrounded by glowing rings drawing in light from all directions. The Black Horizon ships formed a perimeter around it, motionless like guardians awaiting orders. Then, a voice came through the feed, calm, cold, familiar. "This is Commander Hale of the Black Horizon Initiative. To all Earth channels and do not approach the gate. It predates both human and Tharkin civilizations. It's not a weapon. It's a construct and a failsafe." Alan's voice cracked as he spoke into the mic. "Failsafe for what?" There was a pause. Then Hale replied, his tone hollow. "For life itself." Mira watched from orbit as a beam of energy connected the gate and one of the Black Horizon ships. Data streamed between them at incredible speed. "They're downloading something," she muttered. Her officer pointed at the readings. "Captain, the swarm ships, they're not leaving. They're surrounding the system again. It's like they're trying to stop the gate from activating." Mira's blood ran cold. What if the swarm were never the enemy? Seconds later, a new signal flooded every communication band. A strange layered voice filled the station, part mechanical, part organic. It wasn't speaking. It was resonating directly through the hull. The swarm are the keepers. The gate must remain sealed. Humanity's curiosity will destroy the chain. Alan heard the same message on Earth. His eyes widened. The swarm? We're guarding it, not attacking. General Rhodes clenched his fists. And we just killed their guardians. The gate began to spin faster. Reality around it shimmered, space folding like glass under heat. One of the Black Horizon ships tried to disengage but was pulled toward the rings, its hull stretching and vanishing into pure light. Mira shouted, "They can't control it." "It's destabilizing," Alan typed rapidly, decoding the final fragments of the old Tharkin distress call. His face went pale as the translation appeared on the screen. "We opened it. We saw what waits beyond. Close it. Before it remembers you." The gate's pulse grew louder. On every ship, on every channel, human and alien alike could hear it. A deep, slow heartbeat that made space itself tremble. Then, Commander Hale's voice returned, softer this time. "We didn't mean to open it, but once you see the design, you understand. It's not a door, it's a memory." Alan stared at the data feed. "Memory?" "Yes," Hale said. "A memory of creation. The thing that built the first stars. The architects of everything, and the destroyers of those who tamper with it." Mira watched in horror as the gate's center turned pitch black. Light bent inward, forming a void so deep it seemed endless. For a brief second she thought she saw movement inside, enormous shapes drifting within the darkness older than galaxies. Then the feed cut out. On Earth, alarms screamed. The signal from Jupiter vanished completely. Alan looked at the final message appearing on his terminal, a single line of code sent seconds before the blackout. "We sealed it, but it's